My friends, I've been going through some old hard drives looking for some files and coming up and finding some other ones that are kind of interesting. I went through and found a gallery of images from a short-off hike I did with these two guys. And I'm trying to remember the dude's name. Oh my gosh, I'll put it on the screen. But I went with a couple of fellas hiking on Shortoff one time. They were very serious photographers. I am a serious photographer, but not really so crazy as them. They really wanted to just shoot 3 or 4 pictures. They want to go up there and set up and shoot the perfect picture. I shot literally hundreds of pictures. This is Lake James from Shortoff Mountain. So Shortoff Mountain is a mountain. It's the southern end of the Linville Gorge, and the Linville River empties out into Lake James. And I'm just going to segue you through some of these pictures. I shot all these in camera raw using a Nikon D5100. So that is Lake James. We're probably a good 1,100–1,200 feet above the lake there as far as the elevation goes. The Linville Gorge, the highest mountains are Table Rock, which we're going to see here in a few minutes, and Hawsksbill, which are around 4,100 feet. So at this point, I may be 3,300 feet, something like that up. And so you hike from a place called Wolf Pit Road up to this part, and this is where you see, like say, the southern side of Lake James, and that's the South Mountains off in the distance. Those are kind of low mountains. They're about the same height as what I'm standing on there, about 2,800, 3,000 feet. And then this is looking back the other direction. So I'm just going to run you through some of these. This is looking back at a ridge. I thought it was just one of the most vividly beautiful color days that I had encountered. It was absolutely, I think this was 2012 that I did this. So these are some old pictures, like I say, from a camera raw shots from a Nikon D5100. That's a great shot of Lake James there. And the foothills surrounding it. We live in an area called the foothills, and it's nestled between the South Mountains and the Linville, or what they call the Jonas Ridge. That's where, you know, Morganton and Lake James and Nebo and Drexel and Glen Alpine, all these places are located. Beautiful old trees and stuff there. I'm looking back kind of more toward the Roan Mountain or something there. I think it's what's in the clouds there back off in the distance. Forgive me, folks, I might not know exactly all the locations. I'm just telling you where I am. I'm on Shortoff. Just going back and, oh, this is a very famous tree that's up there. They call it the Snag. It's one of the most photographed, I don't know if it's still standing or not. It's one of the most photographed trees from all kind of different angles up there on the Linville Gorge. It may have fallen over by now. It would have been there for a long time. And so this is looking back north up toward the gorge. So we're kind of we're not quite at the top of Shortoff yet. We're just stopping by and looking at some, that's pretty. That is pretty right there. Some of these bigger images, when they pop up, they're made from 3 different images. I did like 3 verticals and stitched them together in Photoshop. Again, looking back toward the South Mountains and Lake James. There's a good panorama. That was probably 4 pictures. And, you know, looking at it, you can see it's a little bit blurry over on the right. That's because I just wasn't holding super steady, but still a cool picture to have. Again, looking back at the gorge. I think I'm looking at what's called the pinnacle area there. I think I could use my mouse. Here we go. I wasn't thinking of that. I think this is the pinnacle, what's this called? And there's a rock jock trail or something that may be a little bit farther north of here that's kind of famous. Yeah, it's kind of neat having the pointer there. I'll start doing that. Oh, that's pretty. This is just rhododendron. This is, well, that's mountain laurel. Actually, it's not rhododendron. We call that mountain laurel. A lot of people call it ivy. I think it's officially real mountain laurel, whereas the other is rhododendron. This is a pretty shot back. That's where I was standing a while ago shooting back the other direction. Now we can see a little further up the gorge. And I'm trying to remember what this is called up here. I want to say Setting Bear or something's back up in this direction. Now, I can see a little bit of Hawsksbill and Table Rock's back behind here. We're going to see that. I mean, it's a beautiful rock ridge there. Isn't that a pretty picture? The color was just fantastic that day. All I've done is open it up and normalize the color in a camera raw. I've not really done a whole lot. That is actually what you see in some years if it's really good color. It's kind of hit and miss. It depends on how the weather has been as to how the leaves look. But that's I would say this was a good year in the Appalachian Mountains. Now we can see. Here's the top of Table Rock. This is Hawsksbill. I think this is Setting Bear back here. I think Wiseman's View is probably somewhere up here. A lot of people drive to Wiseman's View. It'll be somewhere up in this area. I can't remember what this. All of these formations have names. These rock formations, the rock climbers give them names. It's all kind of the same thing. I'm just segueing through some various shots of it I got. That's a good little shot of Table Rock there. Now, Table Rock, if you're seeing it from, this is from the south looking north. If you're seeing it from back over Morganton's, back over this direction over here, then it looks like a big slab. And that's why they call it the Table Rock. It's actually a very narrow piece of rock that's big and long. I can say it's probably 1,200 feet or so long. It may be longer now. I don't want to like tell you what guy's wrong or anything, but there's kind of a cool, oh, it takes it a second or two for it to come into focus. I'm using Adobe Bridge and doing previews through Bridge, but that's a great shot of the gorge. Now from up here down into there, I'd say probably about almost 4,000 feet here, about 4,100 feet here, down to I would say around 1,500 feet. So that's quite that's a big drop off there, and that's your great kind of iconic southern ridge view or southern view looking back at Table Rock. This area up in here is called the Chimneys, which is beautiful. I didn't go up to the Chimneys that day, but I'm just going to move through some of these pictures. A lot of them are very similar. There is a lake, not a lake, but a pond up on top of the mountain there. There's a flat place in the rainwater. It's not, I don't think, pulling up from the ground. I think it's all just a rainwater type pond. But the two guys I was with, Mark was one of their names. I was trying to remember the other guy's name. They were up there to get a pretty picture of this, the reflections and stuff. And here again, I'm just going around shooting. Typically, I don't even mess with the settings of my camera much. I just go and put it in auto, put it in camera raw, and I know that I can work with it later if I do that in Photoshop. Like I said, those guys, I bet they didn't shoot 24 pictures the whole day. I was going absolute nuts up there. I know they thought I was like an amateur and being silly. It doesn't matter. I still come away with great shots. That's pretty cool with Table Rock framed. I think this might be part of Grandfather Mountain back here in the back. I don't know if I ever got any closer where I could see that better. It's a pretty cool shot right there. I'm just moving around from different places and like I say, messing with the camera just a little bit, not much. That's a cool shot. That's not the famous snag, but it's another snag. I tried to frame it up between all this, foliage, not foliage, but greenery over here, and then the snag over on the left. It's a pretty cool shot too. Just like, again, folks, thought I'd share this. Oh, this is cool. This is cool because this is the Black Mountains. I'm crazy, can't think. This is Mount Silo here. I actually grew up back in this area, back on the other side of this ridge, several miles, a place called Little Switzerland. It kind of is snuggled back in this little area back here. If you could go up 1,000 feet and see over this ridge, you'd be able to see down where Little Switzerland is. Back over here is Mount Mitchell. Now, it doesn't look as high because of the angle. We're actually kind of a weird angle here. But this is the highest part, Mount Craig and Mount Mitchell right here, 6,684 feet. This is more like about 6,400 feet here. But this is the mountain I grew up closest to. Got some stories about trying to climb it from that side. It's almost impossible. There's another pretty part of that. Some of these are a little duller than others. I tried to make my adjustments so that it showed what the color really looked like. I didn't want to like oversaturate or anything. I barely use any saturation, honestly, just sharpness, contrast, and such, and a little bit of exposure, either up or down. Again, Table Rock, an awesome snag. Oh my goodness. A lot of these are repeats, so I don't want to bore y'all with this. It's a pretty cool shot there too. So yeah, I was going to say that, as I said earlier, this place is super popular with rock climbers, as you can imagine. And Most of the, like I say, this is called the Chimneys area in here. Most of the serious rock climbers, there are all kinds of steep little ravines and crevices and stuff back on the back side of this. I've probably shared that in some other videos, but it's a good shot. Pretty sure that's Grandfather Mountain, at least part of it back there. Again, that's looking back south. That's Mark and the dude. This is Mark, I think is his name. It's been a good while. Like I said, we connected by Facebook, and they invited me to go on a hike with them. And then, I don't know, like I say, I think I embarrassed them. I think I was a little too much of a crazy type guy that wasn't as serious as they thought I should have been about photography. I guess to me, I just try to frame up a good picture and shoot it. I've not even sorted through this. This is every shot you're seeing here is just what my eye told me to shoot. That's pretty. A little, I'm not sure what kind of pine that is. So folks, you can pause on any of these images you want to and take a look. Very cool. I wanted to see. Seems like I had some different stuff in here too. There's Mark on top of the rock. That just gives you a sense of the scale of what you're looking at, the area that you're in. Like I say, if he were to fall off that rock, it'd be, 600-800 feet before he hit the treetops. Another good shot of Lake James in the South Mountains. Now, I probably live now. That's probably close to Mineral Springs Mountain over here. That's kind of where I live. Back in this way, on kind of some smaller mountains now. I'd say this is close to it over in this area. Pretty shots. That's a beautiful oak there, isn't it? Now this is on the way back down, so I'm probably getting close to the end of this. So these are some shots I'm shooting of the lake as we descend back off that trail. And cannot remember what kind of zoom I had on that camera, but old D5100. Images look pretty nice, and I think we're seeing them full size. And I think I'm back to the beginning. Yep, back to the beginning. Folks, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Real pretty images from the Linville Gorge, Shortoff Mountain. It's a great hike if you want to go up to Wolf Pit Road, go to the end of it, jumping out and start heading up these are the kind of views you're going to see and during the falls when it's absolutely the best. I bet it's great now in the winter too, but man, it really was really inspiring to me to go up there in the fall and see this. Peace to all who watch. Subscribe to the channel if you like.